Yeah, they just are starting to build it right now. It's Tron, and it's still under construction. But you can see the first, well, that is a ride. That's the motor thing. There it is right there. Okay, that's Tron. So it's still awaiting to be opened, but it's almost like Space Mountain, but it's outdoors and it moves around, you know, like a roller coaster. That's the brand new bridge coming right off Trinity. All right, Lazy Dog is a really cool restaurant. Get like a domesticated beer. Their beer's not brewed in Texas, I don't think. I thought it was, but it's not. I don't know the whole thing about where they started and stuff, but they do their own beer and they buy domesticated local beers and stuff like that. You can buy them in the can, but that's the slogan right there. Everything inside of it is like a dog. It's really crazy. Don't know how. Anyway, just give me a second, and I'm gonna show you Lazy Dog. I was just thinking a lot about Silence of the Lambs too. But this is like maybe like you could say like Twin Peaks. They have the Black Lounge kind of thing, but that was like kind of in the middle of oh, it's my turn. Hi, it's Quincy. Thank you. it's Lazy Dog. So it's got like a lot of stuff. And this is cool too. When you go in, you got like a fire hydrant right there. These are the domesticated beers. I've showed it before on other vlogs. You can see them right here. You follow the channel, you'll be able to see more detailed stuff about this beer right here. That's the domesticated. It has LB on it for LD for Lazy Dog. Different ones right there. They're little cans of beer, a little pricey, but not too bad. Sometimes they have deals and stuff, and they play a lot of music, kind of indoors, kind of got like a lounge effect kind of thing. That's it right there, Lazy Dog. There's part of it right there. Yes, hello, how are you today? These aren't really bad. I mean, they're not too bad. It does taste like a chili cheese coney, and I got one of these Zero to Cokes. They're pretty good. I got it at Old Texaco. It's not too bad. So I put the umbrella right here, and the drink is right here. So after the delivery, if I get back in the car, the umbrella's there, then I look right here, that's still there, then I know the delivery's not over yet. See, here's one issue right here. This has been a traffic problem coming off 820 West since I've been driving since I was 15. And like, you know, back in the day...
Estimated time in traffic, 9 minutes.
Back in the day, you know, you could probably maybe try like zip through this with a motorcycle or whatever. Maybe a sports car could go along that way, whatever. But it's never They've never solved it. They're trying to build something, some kind of express or something, but they have not solved this for 15, 25, 35, more than 30, almost 33 to 34 years. It's been a problem. It's a long time for, for a traffic problem. More than 30 something years or so. It's just the same thing. It's hard to show it here. I've tried different things to try to do it. You can kind of do it this way. You can, because of how the mirror is. See these mirrors right here? They're able to fraction the light. See? So you are able to do it. You just have to be at the right angle. It's almost like the mirror is kind of in a way bent right here, but it's difficult to do. This is of course easy right here. That's easy, and that's pretty easy right there. But it is difficult to do. There are certain people now that are having cameras on the roof, and the camera can spin around. I just watched something. A guy's name's Orlando Streets. Not really. I wouldn't say he's forte is major entertainment. Some of it is funny. He's mostly just environmental style of filmmaking, like environmental. He's just filming for long takes, up to 15-minute long takes and stuff. But he has a vehicle, and it's got a camera on the top. So if a car goes by, he can actually, just like a submarine, it's like almost like a periscope. He can like follow the vehicle. And he's also got some kind of camera he's bringing into Walmarts and stuff, doing shopping, like a 15-minute take of him shopping at Walmart, getting paper towels or whatever. But it's not like on the same kind of thing of Adam the Woo. But Adam the Woo does similar kind of stuff. Well, actually does quite the opposite. He's more on the side of entertainment. This guy's kind of just exploring different styles and, I guess, videography and whatever you have it. Pretty cool though. He did one on this driver, cut him off without using the blinker, and he got him coming from behind, and then got him going around, and then put in some words about what was going on with the bad driving and stuff. He was going the speed limit. The guy was speeding, and showing how it was unsafe because the guy came in front of him. Another car was coming around this way, so it was like almost a bad thing that went down. And he published that too, right there. But he's operating in a different fashion, so he looks like he's probably more computer-based. The camera's following. The cars are... I don't know how he's operating, to be honest. It's pretty crazy. He talks kind of weird. When he goes into the grocery store, he was talking about grapes. He didn't call the grapes grapes. He called them berries, which was weird. I guess he was a little thrown off. And not all of his stuff has vocal. Not all of it's narration. And then I think he called something greens or something. Like the green grapes, he called them greens. And then he said something like, Clarice. Tell me about the lambs, Clarice. No, I'm just joking. He doesn't have like a dungeon at home. It puts the lotion in the basket or it gets the hose again. It wasn't that kind of thing. But, Precious, come here, Precious. Don't hurt her. What does he do? Don't hurt my dog. Or, no, I can't remember how he does it. Dog. That voice that Ted Levine from Monk. Some kind of voice that he goes into. Don't hurt my dog! Or something. It's like the weird primal voice. Precious. That movie's disturbing though. Some of those things, especially when it first came out, it was very disturbing to see a grown man acting that way. Of course, Anthony Hopkins being so in control with his eyes. Whenever you see Jodie Foster walk up to Hannibal Lecter for the first time, that broke a lot of ground in cinema and acting just that first moment where you're first introduced to this heightened psycho, you know, and she's this student of the FBI studying this cannibal. Pretty insane, pretty intense. But he's standing at full attention when she walks in. He's like he's waiting for her. He's at full attention. It's very strange. And also how he knows like everything about the case. It's almost like it was meant to be. What's interesting too, what I wanted to talk about, was they're actually exhibiting the Silence of the Lambs house, or Buffalo Bill's house, they call it. And you can go there, you can spend the night there. It's like an Airbnb. I don't know how the pricing, I'm sure the pricing's going up every day. But you can go there if you're like the movie, and there's rooms and stuff you can stay in. There's games, things you can play. Silence of the Lambs represents a whole lot of things. I was drinking carbonated soda. It represents a lot of different things. A lot of people don't know that Jonathan Demme had a color code for that film. And also another thing too is that there was a scheme, a color scheme, which was red, white, and blue. He's also dealing with a Vietnam vet, the sick things that probably went on in Vietnam with the enemy soldiers, and, you know, if he was a POW survivor. I'd have to read the book. The book, a lot of people, I've run across a lot of people that talk about that book. And I am a reader at times. I was reading The Shining, which I actually thought was pretty good. Not Stephen King's best, though. I don't think The Shining is best. I don't know about Dr. Sleep, but people have talked about it. But it's interesting, you know, that first of all, it's an adaptation. So it wasn't an original work completely. It was coming from a writer, coming from a novelist that wrote kind of fictional crime. And it's interesting. I want to personally probably read the book so that I can see what the adaptation was in the screenplay as opposed to the actual book. Stuff that they've done in a lot of different movies and stuff like that. And also to get introduced to the author, which is probably very different than Stephen King's take, very different than James Patterson's take on horror, or whatever you want to call it, that genre of crime horror. But Silence of the Lambs, some people believe, is the best film that's ever been published and shown. Here, but only thing about Silence of the Lambs is that it won more awards than any other movie ever. It's interesting also if you follow the actors that were in Silence of the Lambs, you follow their careers, like Ted Levine and Scott Glenn and all that stuff. Especially Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill. There's pretty much nothing but crime dramas that he's been a part. Monk is another one. Two of them. Scott Glenn, I think, was involved with Monk too, which is interesting because that's what happens when you're a part of a cult classic like that. A lot of times, I wouldn't really necessarily call it typecasting. Of course, Jodie Foster has had some variations. She hasn't done just true crime stuff. But nevertheless, Jodie Foster was cast in True Detective, in the modern day version of True Detective. Looks like we're going to get deterred here with a detour. You should read my story, Cat Nappers, just set in this area. It's a true crime. Well, it's not true crime per se. There's fiction behind it. It's based on semi-autobiographical or semi-auto. That's hard to say. It's gonna sit there. The semi-autobiograph about kids that were raised in this area right here, this area in Haltom. This church right here has been changed like 3 or 4 times. When I was younger, it was Glenview Baptist. Then it turned to the Riverwalk. This church right here on the corner of Glenview and Denton. It also now has changed to Oasis Community. So it's Oasis Community Worship Center. That's where I went to Baptist school, right there. They moved the Glenview Baptist over to another area. They had trailers and everything for the students. Meaning you could go into the trailer to basically study, or it was basically a classroom. They had them in the back of where the church was. That meaning the whole school was a set of trailers. So Catnappers takes place here in Haltom. And these kids are running around on bicycles. Basically, they're like into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. It was probably some of the inspiration maybe for Stranger Things. I don't know for sure. If they heard the recording of the SoundCloud reading of the Catnappers Part 1 and Part 2. I think Stranger Things had already come out. But anyway, they play Dungeons and Dragons, but they play a live action version of it. And they chase these satanic cult ritual people around, and they end up firing off fireworks. Now, I remember Drunken Fireworks had come out too, and I was writing it too. But it's kind of my version of Stand By Me or The Body. Totally lost her salt right there. Pretty crazy. All right. There's the storage units right there. There's Glenview. Okay, that's Glenview Baptist right there. That's where I was trained when I was younger as a first grader and second grader. And when I asked Jesus in my heart, I was 7. And I was right there at Glenview Baptist. Well, not there though. Remember, it's on the other side where I was earlier. Now it's called Oasis Church, but they switched it over here by this Haltom Water Tower. That's the new Glenview Baptist campus, which is way bigger. It's a bigger campus. Pretty good campus. Right there on the other side. It's a pretty good one. It's called Glenview Baptist. First Baptist Church right there, which is down the road from the First Baptist Church. And my principal in second grade cured me of dyslexia because he had me come into the office and he had me write the numbers down to like 50. And then he said, or maybe it was to 100. I don't really remember the number count on it. But he said, look at this one. What does this say? And I said, that's number 11. He goes, that's right. That one's right. He goes, what's this one say? I said, oh, that's number 22. He goes, yes, 22 is right. So what does this one say? It says 33. That's right. You get it? Now start counting to 1 and write it down. And he had me, I think maybe he did the 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5. And I got up to 10 and it went back to 0, 1. Or I wrote down 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0. Right, that's probably what I did. Then whenever I got to 10, he said, that's how you start right there, 0, 1. Then He had me do it again until I was writing 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, then 10, and then 11. You see? And so everyone knows my story of Chicken Punk. It was the first monologue I turned in to Diane Salinger when she was training me in Hollywood. All went down right here at this Whataburger, right on this road of snow, where I was chased by these idiots. Now, the guys that chased us and threw beer bottles on our car, they were arrested right there in their pickup truck, right across from Whataburger. They got them. But they had a long history in methamphetamine and the production of methamphetamine, too. One of them actually blew up a garage because he lit gasoline or something, almost killed a bunch of people. But he was out to fight, and Chris wanted to fight him. Caleb wanted to fight him. Everybody wanted to fight him because he had problems. His brothers were on the truck. They had some girl crammed in there too. They were going alongside of us, and they threw a beer bottle right into Westbrook Johnson's head. And Caleb wanted me to stop somewhere in an isolated area and fight him, but probably someone would have died. So I went back to that Whataburger that was right over there, and luckily there was an officer there he was ordering a hamburger. When I told him what happened, it wasn't long until they got him right over there. How he got him, I don't know. But he got, I guess, reported it, and I reported it to him because I had a feeling that they had something in the vehicle that could have hurt a lot of people. And I don't know where he is now. But don't go driving up next to people and throwing beer bottles at them, especially a bunch of kids. It's not a very nice thing to do.
Approaching a railroad crossing.
There's Whataburger, and it took place right there. It's on Buenos Aires Street. That's where they got him. Right there. I was probably about 16. Don't know who they were. They knew who he was. They called Chris a bunch of names in the parking lot, and so Chris Jenkins was his name. Pretty much like grabbed his nuts and said, you know, blah blah blah, and they said, well, let's go. You know, that's whenever they wouldn't let us go. You know, they were following us the entire time, pretty much almost running us off the road, all down this road right here. I don't remember exactly where I took the U-turn, probably somewhere in here maybe. Don't know how far I got down, but they were begging me to go to the isolated area. Don't know how many were in the vehicle either. I think there was 2 or 3 guys, and it was 4 of us. But Westbrook was a little sketchy. We had all come back from a little episode in Dallas clubbing that night. I think there was 3 girls in the vehicle. I want to say Angela Laura and maybe Jody, or maybe some other chicks. I think the other chick had black hair. I don't remember her name. She's kind of a hefty. One was hefty, the other ones were a little skinnier, I guess. Boy, let me tell you though, made a great monologue. A really great monologue. Diane heard it, Diane Salinger. Really tough Southern kind of reprisal kind of stuff. If you ever seen Reprisal. But I don't know. I really don't even know who the guy was though. I don't remember the guy that was in the pickup truck. I don't remember. They knew his name and stuff. But the history was that he was messing around with making speed in the garage and like did something with the gasoline can and it blew up. They almost lost all their property and everything. They were from like a poverty-stricken neighborhood out here somewhere. But man, it was some tough stuff. Luckily we got out because, hey, I mean, you never know when you get involved with something like that. Get away from it. Like, tell somebody. In that case, they were kind of pressuring me into, you know, facing what was next. We did have a club. We had this little wood club. It's like a furniture piece or something that we had just in case. We were jumped a few times. We usually always got out of it. Caleb did get hit one time. He got punched through the window. The window didn't break, but he had the window rolled down, and it was this black dude on the back of a motorcycle punched him square right in the face. And that dude was with another dude, Vanilla Ice kind of dude, and they just punched him. They found out his name. Back then it was the name, you know, that got you in a lot of trouble. But man, I mean, they hauled off, wham, punched him a really good one. He looked at him and said, that didn't hurt. Guy that came out of the house was an ex-con. He came out late after the guy drove off and said, well, hey, y'all tell me when they come back because I'm looking for a good fight. Said it almost exactly like that. He was drunker and crap. He had an ankle bracelet We had visited him a couple times. We're talking like blonde hair, blue eye kind of stuff. It's one of those things that you climb. It's like a wall. Climb up it right there for climbing. So this is actually a rehabilitation hospital right here. And that's where this one's going to drop off right at the desk. They didn't give me really instructions on it. Hi, looking for BL? Yeah, it should be for BL. No problem, thanks. You gonna fly? You gonna swing? You gotta wanna be one of us, but you're only one of them. All right. Drop off there and head off to the next one. My father, unfortunately, had problems with speed and methamphetamine. I was about 16 when we confronted him. The whole family did. And he was ordered by the courts to go into rehab to become clean from methamphetamine, because he ran a jewelry business, or tried to. It basically burned to the ground. He could have probably been the next Zelles, or maybe even the next Jared. He blames a lot of people. There's only one person to blame. But, you know, as long as you ask for forgiveness, then you will go to heaven. If you don't, then you know where you go. There's some Frisbee golf right off Teal Drive. It's a pretty big course right here. But most of the grass is burned, but it's right off Basswood. Pretty cool. They got sidewalks on the side too. Don't know how far it goes, but it starts around there. I'm highly against most drugs. I met a guy out in Maine, when I lived in Maine. They have some problems with it. A lot of them smoke it recreational, which I'm kind of against. But I worked in a factory as basically dealing with wood and medical products. His name was Jeremy. He was a born-again Christian that had a major drug problem at one time in his life. It almost took his life, but he was able to find Jesus Christ and start over. And he said that the root of pharmakia, it's pharmaceutical, is witchcraft. It's about the same thing, and people practice it all the time. But he was against most drugs too, because faith and the Spirit of the Lord, hoping and just having faith, but mostly faith and believing is more powerful, does wonders. I knew a doctor that would pray. She was a Seventh-day Adventist, and she'd pray with all her patients all the time. But pharmaceuticals are dangerous, and the root of pharmaceutical or pharmacy comes from pharmakia. So find there's different influences, right? You can be under the influence of something, right? It can be really anything. But when you're under the influence of drugs, then you cannot receive his influence, which is the Son of God's influence. It interferes. It's like if you think of it like an antenna reaching out, getting reception on a television. When you do that drug, all of a sudden the television goes fuzzy, and you start doing things that are, that are unwanted, or things that are not desired, or let's say things that are not under the influence of God. Because that's why it says in the Bible to be sober and to practice sobriety, so that you're under God's influence, not under the influence of the enemy, which is a version of that is drugs. Really almost anything. One problem I have, I'll be honest, is right here. It's the zero sugar Coca-Cola, but it's a mild thing, but it's kind of caffeine kind of thing. But you go to any church service anywhere in the world, and you sit down in Sunday school, everybody's drinking coffee.